Welcome to the Tech Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Vincent, and on this podcast, I interview people in tech. As always, this show is sponsored by the consulting launch method, where I help experienced tech professionals build their own consulting business alongside their day job without spending years figuring out the business side. We've helped clients go from initial idea to first customer in 90 days and six figures within a year. If you want to learn more, connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message. On today's show, I'm really excited to have Yudi on. Yudi works at Capgemini, and he's primarily focused on gathering requirements and managing stakeholders for the different clients he works with. So, Yudi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So, the first question I always ask with, I love to start with, right? Looking at your career, because you've been doing this for a while. What is the decision or the project that you are most proud of, and why? What actually made it stand out for you?
It's always an interesting question, isn't it? Because you end up dealing with a variety of different customers and the individuals that you work with. So it makes the journey a lot more interesting, depending on what kind of requirements that you're gathering or the stakeholders that you're managing, right? But I'd probably have to say the most interesting would probably be the Aramco digital project that I recently just done last year. That in itself was a new challenge within a new jurisdiction and managing different cultures and attitudes and behaviors and mindsets. So not only does the work creep in to that aspect of it, but it's just how to manage stakeholders in a new jurisdiction from the jurisdiction that you're most comfortable with, this being the UK,
Mm-hmm.
So where I spent 7 months in Saudi Arabia, you're having to deal with a lot of politics, you're having to deal with many people's different attitudes and behaviors, and in terms of how they need business requirements. You might need something at 9 a.m. tomorrow and you've only just been asked at 6 p.m. the night before. So, how to manage that, that will probably say the most interesting project that I've worked on.
And how did it sort of impact the project? Yeah, that those sort of cultural differences or mindset differences.
The biggest thing I'll probably say is that you just have to adapt, right? No matter where you are, you just have to adapt, because at the end of the day, meeting client needs, you're going to have to do what you have to do within the time frame that you're there. No is not an answer, so you have to politely say no in your own way and understand how you can actually get that requirement over to the individual or what they need within a certain time frame. So I'll probably say that.
So what was so you're proud of that, but what was the outcome of the project that you're proud?
The outcome of it, what I'm proud of, is the experience. It allows me to step back into that environment again, knowing the experience that I've taken out and how to challenge it the next time I ever come around doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something which gave me a taste of the Middle East. And I would probably say that would probably be the biggest outcome for me personally, apart from the work itself,
Yeah.
And because not many people get to experience that firsthand, and let's just say like a trial and error sort of basis, whereas individuals may get stuck in that environment and may not like it. So I got to experience it, and it was a positive experience because it got to build onto my skills as a product manager, a product owner.
Yeah. And so in that product owner, what does that mean in the context of the role you have? Because I saw that obviously also your LinkedIn profile.
Sure. So I wouldn't say that it's similar to being a business analyst, but you still have to take on the duties as a business analyst, right? Business requirements, but product owner, you end up stepping into taking ownership of the backlog, prioritizing the work that we have to do for the client. You're stepping into sometimes, depending on who the client is, but you're stepping into more strategic sort of conversations if needed to be done, future proofing and making sure that, the work that we're doing is getting delivered within the weekly sprints, or if you're working in a Kanban way or form, you're getting the work delivered as per usual,
Yeah. And did you find it? I mean, did you make a transition from from a previous role into the product owner role?
Well, I've been with Capgemini for 5 years, so it was a natural sort of move.
Mm.
I start taking on proxy product owner roles, which allowed me to step into the product owner role itself, and then getting put into a project where I was doing product manager roles as well. So I've gathered that experience over the years.
Yeah, fantastic. And if you were you starting your career in tech again tomorrow, right? Knowing what you know now with the experience you have, but also in every tech industry, there's also changes happening all continuously, right? There's never stand still. AI being a big one, but what is the thing that you will do differently, or that you would tell your younger self, right?
That's a really interesting question, right? But as time emerges, I personally wouldn't say I would change anything, because my experience is my own experience. Because if you was to talk to an individual today, I do mentor graduates that do come into the business and privately through university, as I'm still an alumni. My experience is totally different, like you got to get your foot stuck in the door as early as possible to get into the career that you want. And then you start experiencing, understanding what tech is, understanding what tools you want to work with. Because when you first start out, it's a whole bunch of jargon, right? As you may come in from university, you're learning the theory, but then you need the experience to back up that theory, right?
Yeah.
So that's the experience part, which I'm referring to, where everyone's experience is totally different. So I started in IT help desk support. It's totally different to what I'm doing today, but it was an avenue to get my foot through the door into the IT industry. So nowadays, you've got AI that's just taking over everything, right? And you can learn stuff from your phone, from your computer within seconds. You can do a course, or you might be exposed to Salesforce, which you can do from home. Salesforce has a huge community where you could do trailheads, for example. You can collect badges. You can become much more experienced than an experienced engineer or developer or someone who's got 10 to 15 years of experience. So you can come in fully fledged experience nowadays, So looking back, I think I would have personally liked having a mentor.
Okay.
Because at least a mentor would have guided you in the best way. Because essentially a mentor can guide you based on their experience and what to do and what not to do. I wouldn't say I really had a mentor when I first come out of university. I was trying to find my feet myself. A lot of my friends got a job before I did. I was probably the last one before, I got a job, but that's how tough the market is. And, as time goes on, you realize that,
Yeah, that's a good point about mentorship. I mean, it is important to have someone that you can look up to, or not necessarily look up to, but can seek guidance from, counsel from. I take your point about you just need to get your foot in the door and start working, basically, because the reality is that you don't necessarily know what questions to ask until you've start the working journey.
That's exactly it, right? So you might step into an environment, you can't get put in front of stakeholders tomorrow and lose business, right? So you have to get trained up one way or another, and you need to understand how to talk the corporate jargon, let's just say. You can't just put anyone and everyone in front of a client.
No.
So that comes with its own experience over some time. What you learn at university is just probably 5 or 10% of what you're really going to be doing in your career going forward. I mean, how was that experience for yourself?
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar. I mean, I don't hardly use anything for my technical or my university degree in my day role or before I worked in the tech industry for 30 years. Now I'm more on the coaching and mentoring side myself, but it was very quickly you get sort of almost sucked into the corporate world, right? And the lifestyle was great. In the beginning, in particular, you learn a lot. You work hard. You have nobody else to be accountable to, right? So I would always recommend taking those years and making them count, right?
But just to go back to what you've just mentioned, there's nothing wrong in the corporate world. Certain people are made and like the corporate world, and certain people can run their own businesses. It's a tough world both ways. It's not easy to run your business. Because then you step into sales. So there's different stuff that you end up picking up over the years of actually being in certain environments, and you're best suited where you've had the most experience. If that makes sense, because gradually as you go on throughout your career, you end up picking up on certain skills, how to win business over, and that's not something that's taught everywhere.
No, actually, I think selling is not taught in the university, I would say so.
Exactly. So that, coming from a bachelor's of science degree, the last thing that we're taught was sales. And you end up realizing that later on down the line that majority of businesses relied on around sales. And that's how we get customers and etc. As the journey goes on.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And if I mean, what does your next chapter of your career look like for you? I mean, what do you have in mind? Because clearly you're quite thoughtful about it.
I am indeed. So I want to solidify my experience, obviously, as a product owner, product manager. I just want to get a few more years experience in my field. Um, and then I'll see where it comes from there, because I don't naturally have these sort of 5-year plans because you don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I want to just build on my experience base, build on my client base, and just understand where my journey takes me, and probably get a few more accreditations underneath my belt if that helps, as well as learning more around AI as it keeps coming on, um, and understanding how you can embed AI into the business,
Mhm.
because that is where all organizations are heading now.
Yeah.
And that's a skill set you need to be learning, because if you're not with it, you're pretty much out the door nowadays, aren't you?
I mean, how has it changed your day to day? AI being sort of readily available.
It changes quite a lot, right? In terms of how you deliver value and the impact that you actually provided to the client or to yourself internally within the business. It allows your thought process to think a lot quicker and deliver fast. But we've also got the human in the loop aspect that everyone needs to really understand, because you can't just solely rely on AI, right? It needs to be an aid into your daily life, and how you can really optimize it for what you really need it to do, right?
Yeah.
It can't take away that interaction that I have with the client and that relationship I have, because you need to have that personable sort of attitude with the client and to manage those stakeholders. And that's something that AI cannot replace.
No.
So there's many different aspects to it that, organizations think and do what we need to do. But for me personally, just need to get more trained up on it, really. You can never stop training, right? There's always something new that you need to learn.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's more a life skill or life thing, more than anything else. Not only just a corporate thing, but fair enough. And now, if I mean, AI has sort of impacted your life. So do you see it as a um, Just do you automate things, or is it more about making quicker decisions, or delivering quicker, or?
I would say definitely making quicker decisions and delivering faster, as well as delivering value a lot quicker, you know. And I wouldn't say it's changing anything on my sort of day to day, but yeah, what I am delivering a lot quicker, and you know, simple stuff, you know, summarizing emails or getting meeting notes out or analyzing certain metrics which I need to get out using Copilot, for example. Just aid your thinking a lot quicker to get things out. You know, just delivering value a lot quicker, really.
Yeah.
How are you using AI in your day to day?
I use it, well, a little bit similar. I do strategy sessions sometimes with AI. Yeah, that know a little bit about my business, but I use it. I've got note takers, and I use it to help me with summarizing things, meetings, and client work and things like that. So it's quite yeah. For me, it's an everyday sort of environment. I think that I would like to get more into using AI to automate some of the things I do, some of the mundane tasks. So building agents, I've done a bit of work on that, but not huge amounts yet. So
Interesting. I mean, that experience will come over some time when you've got a business case for it, right? Because you know, you can experience and build something. It's all about creation now, isn't it? So it's about putting that training into full effect to understand how you can make it benefit you.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I did listen to a podcast this morning where someone said, "Well, you need to ask AI to do things that are that are currently impossible to do, right? Or so it creates sort of more unique value, for you yourself and your organization that you work for, which I thought was sort of an interesting thought process. So
Interesting.
fair enough. Well, thanks so much, Judy, for joining today. I really appreciate it. If people want to get in touch with you, they presumably you can just connect with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, it's Yudhistra B, so YUDHISTRAB, at the end of the LinkedIn URL. So if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. As a reminder to everyone listening, this show is sponsored by the Consulting Launch Method, where I help experienced tech professionals build their own consulting business alongside their day jobs without spending years figuring out the business side. We've helped clients go from initial idea to first customer in 90 days and six figures within a year. So to learn more, connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a message. Thank you so much, Judy. Until the next time.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Have a good day.